I am Isabella Kolstad, and I'm going to be here introducing Dr. Aris Wringer. Dr. Aris Wringer is an assistant professor of mathematics at Georgia Gwinnett College. A native of Washington, D.C., he is a proud graduate of Howard University with a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics and Carnegie Mellon University, with both a Master's in Science and a PhD in Mathematical Sciences. His current areas of interest and research include equity in mathematical spaces, culturally responsive teaching, and social justice mathematics. His latest book, co-authored with Dr. Pamela Harris, is Practices and Policies, Advocating for Students of Color in Mathematics. Today, Aris Wringer will be speaking on Math for All in Two Dimensions, where he discusses two interpretations of Math for All. Please welcome Dr. Aris Wringer.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction, Isabella. I really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you to everybody for having me. It's 2 or 3 your time, it's 3 or 4 my time. I wanted to talk for about 45 minutes and then do 15 minutes of question and answer period. Is that okay? Great, excellent. I had too many slides already, so I'll try and cut it short as much as possible. We're really trying to be in dialogue with everybody today as we really think about this discipline, as great as it is, making it better and improving it. I want to give a shout out to some people I know out there. Caleb, it's good to see you, and some others. So I'll share my screen here. I have been thinking about being here with you for some time, right? And so in thinking about, there was one way in which I was thinking about Math for All, and then all of a sudden I was starting to think about some other ways as well. And so I'm going to think about Math for All in 2 ways. And it is also an honor for me to be the first speaker of this conference. And so in doing that, I am going to be setting a tone about what we'll be thinking about the next couple of days as we hear from some incredible people. The great Dr. Kajabi is joining us today as well in this talk. It's an honor to have them with me and giving this talk today in support, of course. And so to be the first one to speak, I also want to give lots of food for thought and to give you homework and things to think about over the next few days as we really think about how we can make what I think is the greatest discipline in the world, welcoming for everybody. Introduction, I'll ask how people are doing. I wanted to talk about math as liberatory for everybody. And then talk about math as a culture for everybody. I have some calls of actions, and we'll do some hard work. As you might expect, I didn't come here to do something easy. I think that we have to go to the hard places in order to really find the answers. Then we'll do some Q&A. I'm super excited about that as well. Ask how we're doing in the chat. I will put a Padlet down. Well, I'll just share it from here. Let me send this to everybody. There we go. How are we doing? Great, okay. Not so good, tired, stressed. Now, I didn't used to have the tired and stressed, but I've had to add those because I always get those, right? So if you're tired and stressed, I have a column just for you as we start this semester. Oh my goodness, what a time we are living in right now in this country and in the world. It's Friday, so gotta go with great. I hear that. I'm glad that you are okay. Feel free to introduce yourself as well. You can also, these are anonymous, you can also write why you've come today to be with me. What are you looking to get out of this? I'm very excited and happy to be here. Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay-ish. I appreciate you being here as an okay-ish feeling with the okay-ish. So tired. No sleep. I'm napping directly after this. So appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'll try and keep you awake. I'll try not to put you to sleep. Ooh, no, I understand that. I understand that. Day 703, not that anybody's counting, of March 2020. There's no other way to be. Great, 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 great. Catching up on things, stressed a little about school and graduating, but I'm still excited to be here. Excellent. Lots to do the next few days, but happy to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful day, can't complain. Yes, 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 yes. There's some answers to some hard questions here with us over the next few days, right? There's some answers to some hard questions, right? And there's some bravery that we can muster within each other to do some hard things that need to be done to make this discipline more and more welcoming for everybody. Fine as usual, good, good. Don't get me started, but we just reduced our masking requirements at Clemson. Oh yes, just call them out. That's not a problem. Yes, 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 yes. Currently at the figure out what I want to do while I pay rent stage. Got it. Yes. And I love these because again, you know, as I come on and try and connect with you, create community with you, it's always good to know where people are, right? And so I've been trying to also do this in my classes so that I can get an idea of where my students are. This will stay open as I'll move on to my slides, but yeah, feel free to throw it in there, how you're feeling, how you're doing. Thank you to the people who posted here. You can also, yeah, you can comment on people's posts and you can heart up some of their posts as well. Let's support each other during this time. Excellent. All right. That's how we're doing. I am Aris Wringer. The greatest honor I can have in the whole world is to be the father of Abingdon Wringer, my daughter, 10 and a half. She is about to get out of school, and so she might run around and hug me. She just does not give a damn about whether I'm giving a talk or not. So we might see her in the next 45 minutes or so. I am the husband of the leader of our household, my wife, Blythe Wringer. I'm a Black person in the United States of America. I'm a teacher, and then I'm a mathematician, and I'm deeply concerned about how we can find belonging for people of color, specifically Black people, in mathematical spaces. And how is it that we can get in mathematical spaces an orientation for everyone in which everybody belongs? We'll talk about that a lot today. I guess I should mention, again, I have the honor of being a sidekick also to Dr. Pamela Harris in hosting Mathematically Uncensored. We're recording tomorrow for our next episode, episode 29. You can find that podcast at your typical podcast platform and also at the Center for Minorities in the Mathematical Sciences at minoritymath.org. Dr. Harris and I also are going to be releasing our third book in the series advocating for students of color in mathematics, I think early next week. The first one is Practices and Policies. The second one is the first one is about dialogues. The second one is about practices and policies. And then the third one is going to be just stories from people of color in the discipline. And so we're very much excited about that and doing that work. It's an honor to work with her on those projects. Norms and agreements, this was already talked about earlier for those of you who were here with the organizers, but we welcome all ideas and points of view, especially when they're different than your own. We need all perspectives in order to solve some of these problems. Be respectful, of course, be fully present and roll with me for these next few minutes. Expect and embrace discomfort. And of course, we want to keep all marginalized people at the center in general. So here's one interpretation that I had for Math for All. So math is everywhere. So maybe we should act like it, right? So if math is everywhere in life and injustice and inequity are also pervasive, where does math show up in these areas? And so one interpretation is to think about mathematics as something that can liberate everybody, right? That that we can use it as a tool in order to enlighten and to make clear some inequities in the world. I want to ask you about, in which societal problems might you see mathematics? Where is mathematics in our imagination of a just society? So in thinking about Math for All and thinking about everyone should be able to use it in order to find their full citizenship and their full sense of possibilities in this democracy. Oh, yes, and paying the bills. Absolutely right. You look at your electricity bill, they got some units on that thing. You're just like, well, wait, how did this get to be $152.17? And then you look at multiplications here and kilowatt hours, and it's just like, wait, what? Gerrymandering, I'm seeing a lot of that already. Building more equitable voting districts. Where else? Bias in machine learning, climate change. Mathematics of AI propagates biases. Modeling COVID, oh my goodness. Letting our minds go to places we can't see. Excellent. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the manipulation of stats. The history of racism and statistics and quantification of who is a fit citizen. So one of the points of the Padlets, and you all are already doing this, that we're, oh my goodness, I can't feel it this early in the talk, can I? We are going to scream this out to the world about where math shows up in societal problems, incorrect data or results given for studies. Modeling COVID one strikes me hard, and I got 2 hearts as well, right? Unlike any other time now, we're seeing all these charts and data being presented to us in the news because of what COVID has done, right? Math showing up there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Inaccessibility of higher education, especially to lower income students. And anything that requires us to understand data. Why is calculus taught over basic logic? Ah, yes, 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 yes. Basketball game statistics. The mis and disinformation crisis. So we're talking about math as math in terms of quantitative literacy, right? This makes me think about Moses and the Algebra Project. He just passed recently. Really thinking about algebra skills as a right to citizenship, as a human right, right? To be able to understand the world. Critical thinking. We're going to keep this in mind when the incredible Dr. Kajabi presents in either tomorrow or in a couple of days. And really think about how her work is doing incredible things, right? And how people who do social justice mathematics should not be alone in the world. This will be my call to action in a lot of ways. And so I am, as you may know, I love this discipline, right? This discipline in a lot of ways saved my life. This is a place that I went to, in some of the darkest moments of my life, to mathematics and doing mathematics. And as I sit here before you now, I have a deep criticism of the discipline in all sorts of ways, right? As I talk about these two dimensions, they come with two criticisms. And one of them is that there are too many brilliant mathematicians who are on the sidelines, doing problems that only 0.000001% of the population will know or understand, right? While in front of them, there are problems that their mathematical skills can solve. I get exhausted when I hear mathematicians say, oh, that's easily solvable. All you need to do is this and this and this and this. And then they go back and they go back into their ivory tower or in their office and they just work on some problem that only 5 other people will understand. I get exhausted from that, right? And so, in other words, I'm asking mathematicians to get in the game. Get in the game of solving societal problems, right? The cultural lack of focus on numeracy and quantitative literacy. The capitalization of productivity and the worth of a human life. It doesn't get more basic and crucial than that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I knew you all were going to come with it. So thinking about mathematics as a liberation and a citizenship tool, right? When we say math for all, we can mean having the power of mathematics being used to support every person, regardless of their identity. In other words, why is it that we can have banks, government, lotteries, casinos, lenders, all use mathematics to exploit, and yet we don't use mathematics to liberate in response to that, right? Why is that? In other words, why is it that we have all these social issues that you all name, that we have here, that are all math problems? They're all math problems, and yet somehow I don't see us out there screaming, right? And as fervor, having the fervor that the banks and the institutions and the governments and the lotteries all have, right? That math is sitting out there for us to use in order to liberate and create citizenship for ourselves in this democracy. And so my call to action is simply to say, what would happen if we create social justice mathematics organizations? Just people who get on the front lines and just say, let's look at the world and let's pay attention to what's going on in the world, centered around making mathematics a liberating tool for marginalized communities. And what happens if we make those organizations that already exist, that are tied to this, and we uplift them, we center them, right? We make them part of the conversation. What if we make social justice mathematics a formal area of mathematics in and of itself? Then we start to think, then we start to allow for the possibility that mathematics as a tool, mathematics as a discipline can serve every single person. And as experts in this discipline, what would happen if we, in the spaces that we control, we bring up these issues in the classes in which we teach? Maybe it might be the case that instead of teaching the same examples we've been teaching for the last 10 to 15 years, we start teaching some other examples that ask us some really hard questions about the way society operates, and they still be mathematical. Maybe we can get out of our comfort zone in that way. Second interpretation is the one that we may be used to. It's the one in which we all belong. Thinking about a math space in which everyone feels welcome. When we think about the math community, asking people to think about, do you belong? Do you have a sense of belonging in this discipline? Have you not felt a sense of belonging? Absolutely. Absolutely not. Here's what I need from mathematical spaces that I'm not getting. And then we'll put in anything else here. Say what needs to be said right here. And then we're going to screen this out to the whole discipline. Here's when I felt excluded. I, as a blank, have been excluded in the following way in mathematics. Oh my goodness. Oh, good, right. And what is it about here? Let me ask the person who wrote this one here. What is it about here that makes you belong? Like, what is it? When I go to a conference, here's what someone responding to the other one. Here's when I felt excluded. When I go to a conference and end up talking mostly to only other women there. When I point out EDI issues that affect me and people invalidate my experience. Let's go. Let's go. Absolutely, to the extent that I didn't even realize until recently that there were people that felt excluded. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And thank you for being here. And oh my goodness, go out back into the world and say to all the other people who still don't realize, right, that we need to use, let's heart that up. You need to use your new realization to change the people who still don't realize. And this recording is going to serve for this, to tell the world that there is work to be done for us to all feel welcome in this discipline. Oh my goodness. And I've been thinking about this whole myth of neutrality that pervades this discipline, that because, we're doing it, mathematics, theorems, proofs, all this other stuff, it's not personal, right? But then this is where we get the mathematics itself entangled with the mathematical culture and way of being. Yes, excellent. I'm on the autism spectrum, and math is one of the few spaces where most people are too, to some extent. I need for people with power to do the work. Ah, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I've been on some calls and given some talks recently and talking to people with power who are absolute cowards. Absolute cowards. Yeah, we need the people with power to step up and do what's right. And sometimes what's right is breaking the rules. When I tell people, here's when I felt excluded. When I tell people I'm a math grad student and people ask if I'm the only girl. Here's when I have felt excluded. When I came up, I did not hear stories about queer and trans mathematicians. Now, I know many and feel included, but it would have been so great to know their stories earlier. And yes, let's heart that up. And let me just be clear about, let me honor the fact that you stuck with it to get to this point. How difficult that must have been. How difficult that must have been. I don't know how you did it. I just don't know how you did it. Here's when I felt excluded. Not me, but I've seen my neurodivergent sister be shut out of academic spaces. Absolutely. And what I want to tell the people who are going to be watching this video, oh my God. What I want to tell the people who are going to be watching this video later, wherever it's going to be posted, that what we are doing today and over the next couple of days is reimagining this discipline to be better than it has ever been. See, we got some people out here who have power, privilege, who think that we are meeting the next couple of days to take something away from them. And it is so interesting that people who can be so brilliant and imaginative and creative in some ways, who actually know about allocation of resources, that they seem completely unaware of the possibility that what we are asking for is going to make this discipline and society better than it has ever been. That on the other side of demanding that spaces, welcome neurodivergent, trans and queer mathematicians, autistic mathematicians, that when we do that, everybody is going to benefit. Everybody's going to benefit. Sometimes I made a space for myself by controlling my own publication platforms and by helping to share mathematical stories from all people. That's something super powerful right there. Sometimes there are pockets of communities where I feel completely included, like here, but I get sad when I think about the fact that there are still places in math where I don't know if I'll ever belong. I mean, think about what we miss out on that possibility, right? I feel like I don't belong because I feel like I don't know the same path that most mathematicians do. And embedded in that, family, embedded in that is this notion that somehow the path that we take to get here, one might be better than the other, right? And in a lot of ways, we all get here in our own way, and they're all valid, and they're all perfectly fine, and they all should be honored. I, as a blank, have been excluded in the following way in mathematics. I was told I shouldn't pursue getting a PhD because as a woman, I won't be able to dedicate as much time to it compared to my future kids. Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And here, again, in terms of fighting this battle and making mathematics a place for all, we have to fight power. Right? We have to fight those people in power. And by the way, I mean fight. I actually do mean that. And I don't mean fisticuffs, but I mean that we have to put up resistance. And part of the reason is because things like racism and misogyny and patriarchy and anti-LGBTQ stances and ableism, these are things and other forms of oppression. They are nonstop and they don't care about the rules. As a matter of fact, they are embedded in the rules. And so I get tired of us trying to make spaces for everybody, and then we go up against rules where our enemy is deeply embedded in the rules. And so then what that requires from us is a deep sense of imagination about how we're going to, as someone had already posted here, create our own spaces to make sure that we belong in those spaces. And then to those large organizations and institutions, to make demands of them that will create spaces in which everybody can belong. Here's what I need in mathematical spaces that I don't have. LGBTQ, person of color role models. Let's help this person out. Put something there now. What links should they click? What email address should they write to? That's this person right here. This person right. This is what community is about. Let's help this person out. Here's what I need in mathematical spaces that I don't have. First, acknowledging me as a person and seeing me as the person who is not only a mathematician. Oh yes, see me as a multi-dimensional person because that is what I am, right? And so Dr. Harris and I always talk about people over content, the person over the content. Thank you for that. Here's what I need in mathematical spaces that I don't have. Stories by and from all possible intersections of identities and positionalities that exist among our mathematical community. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. How do you do it? And and what I learned from Dr. Harris has been some of the things that we just need to create ourselves. So if you can imagine getting people together to collect those stories. This is what she and I did in our third book that's coming out next week, right? I mean, we just literally sent out an email and said, we want your stories, and we put that together, right? She and I and a bunch of other people made Math Swagger, mathswagger.com, because we were seeing, because of COVID, a dearth in summer transitionary points to graduate school. So we threw up a website. Sometimes this is not so shocking, that when we're trying to change something, we might not expect people who are in power or who are comfortable or who are privileged to do anything for us, right? And so then we have to leverage the community that we have in order to create something brand new. If that's what you need, how do we go about just making that ourselves? Oh, this is fantastic. Here's what I need in mathematical spaces that I don't have: mentorship. And that thing's been hearted up. Let's help that person. Where should they go? So yeah, we're focusing on column 3. There's some people who need some stuff. Get in there and help them out. I, as a blank, have been excluded in the following ways in mathematics. On autism spectrum, I feel a disconnect from my peers and a struggle to feel welcome to social events. Peers criticize other autistic peers for social errors. Yes, 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 call it out. And again, my Math for All people, let's get this stuff out on the website, right? Let's scream this to the world, that these are the things that are happening. And I bring this up because we can't get to Math for All in the most ideal sense unless we speak out these things, right? Unless we say them explicitly like this. Here's when I felt excluded: facing unreasonable standards for working hours. Again, there's where power resonates. Power and narratives that you aren't being your best mathematician unless you're burning the midnight oil, drinking tons of coffee to keep you awake, right? Work, 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 work. But that ties to seeing the humanity of ourselves. Appreciate that. When questions of why I only have a MS and not a PhD come up. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, so there's this sense of elitism, which I'll talk about later. Just making a note here that probably we have lost and pushed away from math the people who would write in this column. Absolutely right. And yes. Emphasis on we. Emphasis on we. We all played a role in that. That's right. Thank you for that. I could stay here on this Padlet forever. Keep writing there. I got one more I gotta do. Call to action number 2. We each need to interrogate how the ways in which we operate in the world and the identities that we hold are barriers to others to join and participate in this discipline. I will go first. I got a couple. I got tons. But as a man, I need to interrogate my own inner misogyny and patriarchy. That when I wake up every day and look at my beautiful wife and my beautiful daughter, I'm reminded time and again of how the notion of men being better than women has lived in me for so long, and I have to fight it every single damn day in honor of them and every non-man on this planet. And how that in my profession prevents me to be the best advisor, collaborator, and teacher possible. As an able-bodied person, I often ignore, never see how the world operates in a way that keeps other people who are not able-bodied out of the picture. I need to examine all that I don't realize about how ableism creeps into every single thing that I do in this world. In reference to what someone just said a few moments ago, as a PhD mathematician, I need to check my deep elitism and realize that the subject belongs to everybody. That I don't know more than anybody else, but I know some things and other people know other things. And that there are things that are just as valid as what I know. And as a teacher of a large trans population at hybrid education in Greater Atlanta, I need to let go of the comfort of fitting in and dig into the experiences of those students and those faculty members to better serve them in mathematics and everywhere in the world. That's just a few. That's just a few. And if I am down for the cause to make math for everybody, then that is what I have got to do. And oh my God, you do too. What in the world are you working on, right? So you had the opportunity to talk about how you didn't belong. What in the world are you doing to keep other people out? It's anonymous. It works both ways, people. As a blank, what do you need to work on? Someone brought up one a few moments ago that I was like, yeah, I definitely need to work on that, right? Oh, by the way, I don't believe you. If you're claiming that you ain't got nothing to work on, then I don't believe that you're down for math for all. Let's just be clear about that. That how easy is it? I got too many people, too many freedom fighters in this discipline who do a bunch of pointing the fingers and never point the finger at themselves. They love using their index fingers, but they never use their thumbs, right? They love, pointing, but they never get a mirror. My ego gets in the way. I need you to say more. What is it that you mean by that? My ego gets in the way. How does that keep other people out of this discipline? Excellent, excellent. As a white person, I have to work on dismantling both my internal biases and racist behaviors and the systemic barriers that have and continue to include so many. Absolutely right. Great words, great words. I hope you go deeper. I love that. I love that. Find the pain of when you've done that to somebody else. You don't have to write it, but you got to think about that. Making space for others. I do not have trouble raising my voice, but I need to work in making space for others to talk and being heard. Yes, yes, yes. I'm with you there, right? That sometimes we just have to shut up, right? And let the people who we don't see that often in this space have the center and talk and talk and talk. I easily forget that not everything I can do comes as easily to others. Everyone learns at a different pace. And I know this is crucial, right? Why? Because in this discipline, we care about speed. If you prove it before that other person, you get the credit, right? You get the published paper first. You get all of these things if you do something faster than somebody else, right? And that makes us think that somebody's better than somebody else. How do we dismantle that? I need to be better at listening instead of just talking. Appreciate that. I need to start wringing my hands about the terrible working conditions for the grad students in my department and start making these conditions better. Let's heart that one up. Absolutely right. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of talk. So tired of talking. And so for this person, let's go ahead for this one right here. Yes, let's go. Let's heart that one up. So we need to go ahead and just do what? What are the next steps? And by the way, here's the thing. Maybe you don't need to do it alone, right? But it feels like you're on the cusp. It feels like you're ready to do something. Maybe you don't need to do it by yourself, right? Who can you call up? Yes, 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 yes. So I don't know what summer funding means. There's some things that you just got to do. As a person who's financially comfortable, that's the one I wanted to add. So my slide had filled up and I was like, well, I could add like 4 more, but I was like, okay, let me just put a couple. But this was one I wanted to add. As a person who is, for myself, as a person who's financially comfortable, I need to Work on understanding the struggles of people who are financially insecure, dealing with additional stress, and needing to find extra jobs to make ends meet. Someone posted on Twitter about something similar to this, when they had mentioned that, and I didn't realize this, they had mentioned that people just need to understand that when you are when you are a math major, or any major really, and you are paying for yourself to get through college, but particularly in math, then that means you don't get all of this stuff on your CV that other people get who don't have to work, because they get to be in all of these programs, and you needed to work. So that when it comes time to apply to grad school, your CV is looking a little slim because you've had to put yourself through school the whole time, while everybody else, while all these other people could go through these programs. Blew my world wide open. I need to work on remembering that the way that I communicate math isn't the only, oh my goodness, and make sure that this doesn't come up when I grade other people's proofs. Thank you for that. I need to be more empathetic and understanding of the difficulties individuals with mental health issues face every single day. Absolutely. Because it's invisible, right? That's something that's invisible. And this is what I mean by we have to fight it every single day. We have to fight these things. Because the day we take off and not fight these things, you might run into someone and these things come up. Yes, what we call laziness might just be depression. Excellent. I'm going to cut into my Q&A time because this is gold, people. I was raised in the upper middle class, and I need to do a better job of understanding where my lower income students are when they come into college. Instead of viewing them as unprepared, I need to figure out the best way to get them the foundational knowledge. That's right. And the narrative is that they didn't get the access that you got, right? Fantastic. Fantastic. I want to work on giving people as much grace as I can. You don't know what people are going through, and we can all use a little more kindness and grace in our life, including and especially in the classroom. So we're reaching some themes here. Some themes about really, so this is, yeah, so here's the theme that I'm hearing. I'm hearing this theme about I need to understand and be aware, not necessarily of exactly what someone is feeling who is different from me, but to just understand that it is different, that it is different. I've been privileged to have a good support system, and I need to remember that others may not have had that support. Absolutely, absolutely. Being careful with the language I use around my Calc students and honest with them when I mess up. Negative self-talk is really hard for me, and I want to model that with my students. Powerful. Making my content more accessible to other people. Less judgmental. Give money away. Laziness is a myth. I have to keep remembering that. Everyone's on their own. As a straight white man, it is easy to blend into the crowd and allow myself to benefit from these institutions and places built for me, instead of using that privilege and power to bring other people into those spaces. Hallelujah. And I need people like this to be loud as fuck. I need these people to just scream out and cuss out some other white men. That's what I need. I need these people when a leader says, oh, there's nothing we can do about that tenured professor. I need this person to say, I don't give a damn what you say. Somebody's got to go cuss out that person. I'm tired of abuse by people in control. I'm exhausted. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one. But math for all means that we have to have the hard conversations, and that we have to call out some of the nonsense that's happening for no reason, that's keeping other people out. See, when we go back and we look at this one, I don't know what else needs to light a fire under us but this, right? This is going to be the fire we use to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to do something better. This also helps when we look at this from now on and we see that this is who we are and that we are trying to get better. Yes, and Omar is right. It is, again, it continues to baffle me and Dr. Harris when we talk and we see brilliant math-oriented people who can solve incredibly difficult problems. And then when it comes to this, we're just like, cowardice, right? We gotta go to the hard places. All right. I could be here forever. I'm gonna take some questions. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. I'm just so happy. You don't have to clap. I'm clapping for y'all. Over the next couple of days, I want us asking the hard questions. Dr. Kajabi is going to come, Dr. Washington, we're going to have some people who are going to talk about re-envisioning this discipline, ask the hard questions. When you're in with people and build community, let's change this discipline for the better so it's for everybody.